You're welcome to our channel. If you do find value in it, do like and subscribe. You can equally share. For today, we're going to be looking at how I achieved dynamic zone visibility, which is collapsible containers. You see, when you click on this, the container that carries the filters collapsed. And when you click back, you can view and unview that container. That's what we're going to be looking at this morning. First and foremost, it was a really simple trick. So basically what you needed to do was when you're done clicking on the containers, that's the first thing to do, set up your container, then go in and create for yourself a parameter. Now, this parameter uses what we call a Boolean data type, and Booleans accept two entries, which is either true or false. Now, for you to be able to do dynamic zone visibility, you either have to have two values or just one. So in this case, true or false does it very well. Okay, once that is created, I called it show and hide parameter. Boolean, current value true. Yeah. You can do that from here. Just go to create parameter. Do exactly that. All right. Fill it up. Data type Boolean. Yeah. All right, cool. Once you're done with that, come back to the dashboard. Click on the container carrying you want to collapse. And in this case, this is the container I want to collapse. And once you're done with that, come right here. So in this case, just click on it, come right here to layout. You would see the dynamic zone visibility, the control visibility value. Tap on it and then set it as, choose the parameter you want to control that location. So, but before you can achieve this, I hope you can see we activated the container we want to have dynamic zone visibility with. Yeah, so it's highlighted there in blue, and I'm going to choose the parameter with which to control it. This one. Awesome. Now, having done that, we've achieved the first bit of work. Now, I'm going to call in that parameter, which is the show and hide parameter. Show and hide parameter. That's it, but I'm going to take it to where I want it to be. In this case, just here. Yeah, leave it there. Awesome. Now, that parameter wants you show true, false. Can you see that? Collapse it again, true. So your first bit of work is done. But I don't want to have this experience. What do I want to have? I want to have a button. Now, for you to be able to have this button, you need to open a worksheet. And in this worksheet, I called mine hide filter bar. Now, whenever you want to use a parameter, typically what you do is you go to create calculated field. Yeah. And then you drag in the parameter simply like this and give it a nice name. Yeah. So in this case, I'm going to call it a show parameter field. So I'm going to call it show and hide parameter field. Now, this is where it gets interesting. Yep. I already have this field created. That's it. Okay, so I'm going to come in here and just show it to you. So that's it. Dragged in, that's it. Click on OK to create your field. Now, the beauty of this is I'm going to show you something. Poof. I'm going to show and hide this. Show parameter. It's on true. I'm going to drag that field and put it right here. So you see, whenever the show parameter is changed to false, this will as well change to false because the field is literally controlled by the parameter. Now, if we do that, if we let it the way it is, then when this is changed, when this button is changed to true, how do we revert it back to false? Now, prior to this time, what I used to use was this. So in this case, so prior to this time, what I used to use is this, similar to this, yeah? Now in this case, I set out 3 different buttons. One is production, one is registration, one is parameter. So in the case of what we were doing, I would have used the button for true, and I would have used the button for false, such that if I click on true, it collapses it. And if I click on false, it collapses it the other way. It opens it up again. So I could navigate in that manner. But this is not what I want to achieve. I want to use a single button to achieve that value. And that's why instead of using what I typically would have used, which in this case would have been that, but the field, the calculated field I had created. Now I go on to set up a new calculated field. Again, go here, calculated field. I've already created mine, so I'll show it to you. Edit. Now, what did I do right here? I picked it up and I said, show and hide parameter, which is the parameter here. And then I'm saying, whenever this is not the same thing as this. Okay, now let's see how that works in reality. In this case, what I'm trying to do, I'm going to show you, I'm going to drag this also and drop it right here. It shows false. What it means is that every time you change this to true, look at this. I just changed parameter to true. The show and hide field is set as true. But the not show and hide, it's a negation. So it negates the value here. So it's always going to negate. So if I change this again to false, it's going to what? Go to false. So it's always going to give me false. Always going to give me a false. You see, it always a false. You know why it's always a false? Because false, false is false. And then true, false, true, true is always going to be a false. The negation, I'm going to show you again. Just one sec. It's not possible for these to be what? Not equals to. The word here means not equals to. So it's always going to give me a false figure. And that's exactly what I want. So I want a false figure such that, now based on my false figure, this is what I did. I could create, I used that false figure, not shield, put it right here. Then drag these also for details and dropped it on details because I want to use it. Yeah, I could come here, set up the icon. Yeah, that's not a problem. Then I bring in that field right here. Now, when I come here, I'm going to go to actions. And I'm going to go to add actions, change parameter. So I want to use the button to change parameter. Click on this. Now, if you click on that, this is the experience you are going to have. So actions, that's it. I already called mine, so I'm going to open it up. So I called mine DZV, which is Dynamic Zone Visibility Control. And then I put it together here. So the referral sheet, so I'm going to draw it from the sheet where this is contained in, which is called the hide and filter bar. You see, that's the only sheet I picked up. And I said, once you select on it, the target parameter it's supposed to change, which is the hide and show parameter. Then lastly, I looked at the source field. Now the source field here is the not show. which should always return a false. And I'm saying if it's not a false, leave it as set the value as true. So I'm sure I will always get a false. Okay? Now, tap. Okay. Now, now I don't need this anymore. So I'm going to take this off because I no longer need this. And I'm going to come right here and say, pretty easy. Now, what you can check just to be double sure, what is the value of this right now? So the value of not sure at the moment is a false. Whereas the value of show and high parameter, it's a true. If I click on this changes. It means activate dynamic zone visibility. And then you can come in and check. It's also a false. Okay. So this is exactly how I achieved dynamic zone visibility using a button. Thank you very much. Do like, share, and subscribe. Let me know if you need me to explain something for you or any other thing. I'll be so happy to do it. All right, cheers.